If you've ever watched Money Heist, you know how thrilling a well-planned robbery can be. Every detail meticulously thought out, every move calculated, and the robbers always seeming to be one step ahead. But what if I told you something just as daring happened right here in Kenya? In November 2017, two brothers, Halford and Charles Murakaru, pulled off a bank heist so unbelievable it felt like it was ripped straight from a crime thriller. Instead of storming the bank with guns blazing, Halford and Charles opted for a much subtler approach. They dug a 30-meter underground tunnel that led them directly into the KCB Thika branch strong room. Can you imagine that? No alarms triggered, and no one saw them coming. By the time they vanished into the night with over 52 million shillings, they left behind a baffled security team and a nation wondering, how on earth did they do it? This isn't just a story about a clever heist, it's about two brothers tired of struggling, wanting more out of life, and willing to risk everything to achieve their dreams. But even as they pursued this audacious plan, a shadow loomed over their ambition, a growing desperation that would eventually seal their fate. Halford and Charles grew up in the modest village of Karura, located in Mathura constituency, Nyeri County. Born in 1985 and 1987, respectively, they were raised by hard-working parents, Esther Nyaguthi and Titus Githui, who toiled daily to provide for their family. From a young age, the brothers showed an extraordinary commitment to their studies, driven by a desire to escape the poverty that surrounded them. In 2002, Charles earned the highest marks in his class during the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, KCB, leading them to Nyeri High School, where Halford set the academic standard for his younger brother. Despite their family's financial challenges, Esther sacrificed everything to keep her sons in school, even selling the family's only cow and walking long distances to plead for their readmission when they were sent home for fees. Their hard work paid off. Both brothers excelled academically, scoring straight A's in their Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE, exams, and securing places at the University of Nairobi and Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT. Halford graduated with a degree in electrical and electronics engineering, while Charles pursued a degree in agricultural engineering. However, life outside the classroom was a harsh reality check. Despite their impressive academic records, Halford and Charles struggled to find jobs, their dreams overshadowed by disappointment and frustration. With mounting debts and dwindling hope, they found themselves at a crossroads. In desperation, they began dabbling in money fraud under the guise of car sales, just to survive in Nairobi. But that wasn't enough for them. As high achievers with a thirst for success, they craved bigger rewards. That's when they set their sights on something far more audacious, a bank robbery. Inspired by the clever heists depicted in Ocean's 11, Halford and Charles hatched a plan as ingenious as it was risky. Just like Danny Ocean and his crew, they meticulously orchestrated an elaborate scheme to rob the KCB Thika branch. They relied on their high IQs to devise a strategy that favored intellect over brute force. Instead of firearms like most bank robbers, they chose a smarter approach, digging a tunnel. This 30-meter underground passage would lead straight to the strong room of the bank, allowing them to bypass the usual security measures. They coordinated their efforts with precision, ensuring every detail of the heist was accounted for. Their plan was more than just a means to an end, it was their final bid to escape their circumstances and secure financial freedom. In June 2017, the brothers roped in two accomplices, Julius Wainaina, a University of Nairobi graduate in electrical engineering, and Shem Karimi, a student at JKUAT. Together, they rented 4 stalls in a building adjacent to the KCB branch, using fake IDs to set up a bookshop business as a front while secretly preparing for the heist. The brothers paid 168,000 Kenyan shillings in advance rent for the 6 months they would need to complete the tunnel and assembled various tools: hose, a welding gas cylinder, a gas mask, and wooden planks, which would come in handy during the excavation. During the day, the bookshop operated as a legitimate business, selling books and printing materials. But behind the scenes, the brothers and their accomplices were digging the tunnel, packing the soil into sealed cartons, and discreetly transporting it away at night. They even convinced the building's caretaker to let them operate after hours, claiming they were handling large shipments of books. In reality, they were removing the soil they had excavated. Their plan continued for 6 months without raising any suspicion, but the weight of their deception began to take its toll. Finally, on the night of Sunday, November 19, 2017, their hard work paid off. The tunnel reached the bank's vault undetected, mainly due to the lack of CCTV cameras in the rear area. The brothers, along with Julius and Shem, crawled through the narrow passageway they had painstakingly dug. The earthy smell of the tunnel mixed with the metallic scent of the welding torch as they broke through the concrete floor of the bank's strong room. Their hearts raced with excitement and fear as they saw the vault before them, a treasure trove waiting to be claimed. In that moment, they weren't just robbers, they were conquerors, defying the odds stacked against them. After breaking into the vault, they made away with 52 million Kenyan shillings, along with various foreign currencies, including Australian dollars, euros among others. They then slipped back through the tunnel. By dawn, they were gone, leaving behind only a gaping hole and empty safes. It was a bloodless heist, executed flawlessly, but beneath their triumphant exterior, seeds of paranoia and fear began to take root. Instead of fleeing like most criminals, the Murakaru brothers and Julius Wainaina returned to their home in Mararoi Estate, Kasarani, convinced they had covered their tracks and believing they would never be caught. They stored part of the loot in a rented house in Juja, paying a woman 21,000 Kenyan shillings to secure the place for them. Meanwhile, Shem Karimi, sensing danger, fled to Mtwapa in coastal Kenya, hoping to lay low. The next morning, on November 20, 2017, around 8:30 a.m., the heist was discovered when Samuel Inganga, the branch manager at KCB Thika, arrived to open for the day's operations. When he stepped into the strong room, he froze. The safes had been broken into, and piles of cash were missing. The shock turned to panic as he realized what had happened. It was clear someone had broken in, but how? Samuel immediately reported the incident to the Thika police station, prompting a swift response from the authorities. When investigators arrived, they were stunned by what they found. A 30-meter-long tunnel, perfectly aligned with the vault's location, had been dug from a neighboring building, directly opposite the Thika Divisional Police Headquarters, just about 150 meters from the bank. The robbers had rented 4 stalls, posing as legitimate business owners, and spent 6 months secretly excavating the tunnel. The police quickly shifted their focus to identifying the masterminds behind the elaborate scheme. Considering the precision and technical skill required to pull off such a heist, suspicions of an inside job arose. How else could they have known exactly where to dig? How did they bypass the security systems undetected? The discovery of the tunnel suggested not just a plan, but an obsession. However, their luck soon ran out. A week after the heist, news of the robbery broke, and the country was in shock. Unbeknownst to the brothers, one of their neighbors in Mararoi had become suspicious of their behavior and reported them to the police. Swift action led to the arrest of the Murakaru brothers and Julius Wainaina in their home. During the search, authorities recovered SIM cards, stolen IDs, and part of the stolen money amounting to 17,135,000 Kenyan shillings, along with various foreign currencies. The three men were charged with breaking into the bank and stealing the money, as well as handling stolen property. They were arraigned in court, where they denied the charges. But their audacious heist had already made headlines, and their once promising future lay in ruins. To date, nearly 20 million Kenyan shillings of the stolen money has never been recovered. The tale of Halford and Charles Murakaru is more than just a crime story. It's a haunting reminder of how unchecked ambition can lead to tragic consequences. From academic stars to criminal masterminds, their journey serves as a stark contrast between potential and reality, raising questions about morality, desperation, and the pursuit of a dream that ultimately destroyed them. As we reflect on their fate, we must ask ourselves, how far would we go to escape the shackles of our circumstances?